Well, hello, everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to Happy Hour. Now, we have got quite an event in store for us today, don't we? And I'm going to explain to you exactly and precisely how I found today's presentation because it really is this was a happy accident. This was something that I did not anticipate that I was going to find. I was doing research into a completely different thing, and then it just appeared out of nowhere like a mythical being. It was a happy accident. That is exactly correct. What am I talking about? Well, I am talking about our presentation today is Jeffrey Marsh. Jeffrey Marsh. Not only are we watching Jeffrey Marsh, we are watching Jeffrey Marsh from 6 years ago before any of us thought to look into any of this. And we are watching Jeffrey Marsh present to teenagers. This is old school, ladies and gentlemen. We're going back to the roots. We're going back to the beginnings of Jeffrey Marsh. The question I have is it going to be more creepy or less creepy than we become accustomed to? Because I'll tell you what, 6 years ago, we were in a different time. 6 years ago, we were in a time when people were completely unaware that this stuff was going on. And so what tends to happen when we're watching older presentations for happy hour, what tends to happen is that the older stuff is way more crazy than the stuff you see now. Because the older stuff, they were not aware that the media was going to be on their asses for every single thing that they were doing. They were more open about what they were doing. They were more inclined to say the crazy stuff. And so if I had to guess, I would guess today is going to be a crazy day. That's just an assumption. I don't know that that's true, but that is going to be my guess for what we are going to be experiencing. I could be wrong about that. Maybe Jeffrey Marsh was much more normal back then. But let me just read the session description to you. This is from a group called Gender Spectrum, and we're going to talk about that in a second. The presentation, again, this is from April 22nd, 2016. This was before Trump got elected. Okay? Like everyone just needs to, this presentation was done in Obama era. All right? And it is called Self-Love and Gender Expression. The Gender Spectrum Youth Council, the Gender Spectrum Youth Council, these are people under 18, folks, was honored to interview YouTube vlogger Jeffrey Marsh, a social media icon and speaker. You may recognize Jeffrey from their uplifting vines and positive presence on Instagram and Twitter. Their affirming messages encourage everyone, regardless of gender or sexuality, to be themselves. That is what we're watching today, ladies and gentlemen. Now, welcome to Happy Hour. If you've never been to Happy Hour before, Happy Hour is what we do every Friday at 5 p.m., where we watch a woke training, a long form woke training from start to finish. We watch the whole thing. We watch the boring bits. We watch the cringy bits, because in the watching of the full presentation, we will hear them talk about their plans, their strategies, their ideas. These are presentations that they do when they don't think people like us are watching. And it is one of the best tools that you can use to actually educate yourself about what the woke left wants, what their perspective is, things like that. I firmly believe that people who join me for happy hour and also for Socialism Saturday, which is tomorrow at 6 p.m., on a regular basis, know more about what is going on the woke left than anyone else on the planet. I mean more than the journalists, I mean more than the pundits, I mean more than the commentators, I mean more than the YouTubers. You guys know more about what's going on because you actually sit your asses down and you listen to them in their full form. And the purpose of happy hour is to make sure that we understand the enemy that we are fighting, not the outrage content, not the clickbait that's put out by like the Daily Wire and Fox News. We don't want that. That is not real. That is manufactured outrage to get you to give them money. This is the real deal. This is what they say to each other. This is what they say when they don't think anyone is looking. And look at this, guys. Check this out. This presentation only has 538 views. This has basically never been seen before by people like us. You are in on the ground floor today, ladies and gentlemen, and I do hope you appreciate it. Now, what I want to do is a couple of things. First off, I want to walk you through how I found this presentation because I want you to understand how to look for this type of stuff. Because the more people we have looking for this type of stuff and watching this type of stuff, the more the better position we're going to be in. I firmly believe that these people put everything that they're planning on doing live on the internet. They act with such hubris. They say the quiet part out loud all the time. And so if we just sit our asses down and listen to what they're saying, we're going to find it eventually. Now, the problem is these people put out so much content that it is quite literally impossible for me personally to watch and stream everything. So that's why everyone needs to be involved. Everyone needs to look at it. We can do this stuff together and that's fine. And I try to make it fun and bearable and all that stuff. But the more people who understand how to find this stuff, the better position we're going to be in. So I want to tell you how I found this presentation because you'll notice Jeffrey Marsh's name is not in the title of this presentation. That's not how I found it. I found it because I was doing research for this article right here that I wrote this week for my Substack. It's called Michigan Trains Teachers. Hang on, and I just lost my URL. Michigan trains teachers to help elementary school students come out to their parents. This is a real thing. I have been doing a series of articles basically exposing the teacher training that the Michigan Department of Education is doing with teachers all across the state of Michigan. It is shocking. If you know parents in Michigan, or even scarier, you are a parent in Michigan, you really need to read this series of articles. This is the third in the series, and I still have a whole bunch of other presentations I haven't watched yet. And so that's an ongoing thing. But one of the things we found in this presentation is this right here. We found out that Michigan, the state of Michigan, is using the Gender Spectrum Gender Support Plan. Now, the Gender Spectrum Gender Support Plan is a PDF that schools can download when schools are having conversations with your kids without telling you. They're not informing the parents when this is going on. The Michigan Department of Education made that extremely clear. And what they're doing is they're helping your kids, starting in elementary school, to develop plans for how they're going to come out to you, their parents. And on this form, they even have whole sections. Do your parents know about this? What do your parents think about this? Are your parents safe to contact? This type of stuff is going to go in your kid's school file, and you're never going to be the wiser that it exists because the school isn't going to tell you about it. And the Department of Education in Michigan is actually training teachers to not inform parents when this stuff is going on. So it started with me researching this gender spectrum form, and I ended up on the website for Gender Spectrum. Gender Spectrum is an uber woke organization that is working in schools all over the country. And anytime I'm on an uber woke organization's website, one of the first things I do is I scroll down to the bottom and I look for their social media, because these people say everything on their social media. And if you just look at it, then they'll tell you what's going on. And so there I found their YouTube channel. Okay, let me click over into the Gender Spectrum YouTube channel. And that had all sorts of stuff on it, but there was nothing really that stood out to me. So I did what I always do, and I went into the live section. I wanted to see their long form presentations. And then I scrolled down in the live section and boom, I was like, that's Jeffrey Marsh. What's that about? Gender Spectrum. Keep in mind, this is an organization that the Michigan Department of Education is quite literally working with to develop gender plans for your students without telling you to come out to you as either gay or trans in elementary school. And they have a presentation on their YouTube channel from 6 years ago featuring Jeffrey Marsh. They've got all sorts of other crazy stuff too. This might not be the only thing we watch from Gender Spectrum, depending on how this goes. But I wanted to give you some insight into how I found it. Now, guys, if you want to support the work I'm doing, of course, becoming a supporter on my Substack is going to be the very best way to do it. You can support my work in a variety of ways. You can join my locals community. It's kb.locals.com. Link is in the description below. You can become a member of my Patreon. I've got all the information down there. It is patreon.com/unwoke. But my favorite way for the moment is I'm really trying to build up my supporter base on Substack. Substack has become my content hub. Substack is where I'm putting out pretty much daily content with unwoke news and information that I think you need to know. Whether I'm talking to you about what's going on in the news, I'm curating the best news stories, I'm doing exposés and original journalism, I'm writing essays to break down the woke ideology to help you understand it. Essentially, on my Substack, I am downloading everything that I have learned over the last 3 years of being a very boots on the ground activist about the woke left, how to fight back against them, how to defeat them, how to throw them off their game, what you need to know about their psychology, how they operate in schools, etc., 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 etc. I'm downloading as much of my knowledge as I can to you directly for free on my Substack. Now, here's what I ask in return. If you value my work, because I do this all day, every day, we're talking between 8 and 15 hours a day, every day, no vacations. That is what's required to keep all of this up. If you value the work I'm doing, and if you value the content that I'm creating, then I humbly ask that you become a supporter on my Substack. What does that mean? It means you sign up for a subscription for $5 a month, $5. You can't even get a cup of coffee for $5. $5 a month or $50 for the year. There are also options to donate at higher levels if you want to. And of course, I would absolutely value that, but you don't have to. All I'm asking is for $5 a month, $50 a year. And I'm trying to get 75 new paid supporters in my Substack by the end of the month. And that is what is required. That is the bare minimum in order to keep my Substack free for everyone. I don't want to put up a paywall. I really don't. But I will if people are not stepping up and voluntarily supporting the publication, because this takes a lot of my time. It takes a lot of my work. And so if you can support the work I'm doing, I humbly ask that you do it. You can subscribe over on carlin.substack.com/subscribe. The link is pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube. And I really do appreciate it, guys. I cannot do this without you. I am 100% funded by you. That is purposeful. I don't want to be beholden to any organization. I don't want to be beholden to any political group. I don't want to be beholden to anyone except for you. And my only job is to tell you the truth, to bring the receipts, to bring the nuance that most people in this space are not bringing. And I work every single day for you. And I hope in return, you will show up and support me in the way that I need in order to keep doing it for you. So that's my Substack. I do appreciate it. Now, one of the perks you're going to get when you join my Substack is not only are you going to get access to 2 weekly Zoom calls with me every single week, private, unrecorded. We do them on Mondays at 7 p.m. We do them on Wednesdays at noon. You will get access to those 2 Zoom calls when you become a supporter. You will also get access to my monthly bitchcrafts because I'm a knitter, obviously. And once a month in my community, we get together. It is on the second Saturday of every month. And we have what I call Bitchcraft, which is an open Zoom call where we bitch and we craft. We might even, people are allowed to do whatever crafts they want. Obviously, knitting is the far most superior of all crafts, but you are allowed to crochet, you are allowed to draw or paint or I don't know, quilt or fold your laundry or clean your gun or just come and hang out with us. It's cool, man. We do that on the second Saturday of every month, and that is going to be going on tomorrow at 3 p.m. in my community, right before Socialism Saturday, which will, of course, be at 6 p.m. per usual. So this is another great reason to sign up. Now, people are asking in the chat if we have bingo today? Yes, of course we do. Here is your bingo card. I'm putting it in the chat right now. This is just something to keep us amused. You don't win anything. It's just a game to keep you paying attention. Everyone gets a unique bingo card. Click generate card. You get a free square in the middle. We're going for lines or we're going for corners. If you get a bingo, just shout out bingo in the chat. You will get a hearty round of applause. You won't win anything, but we'll cheer you on, and then we'll go for blackout bingo. After that, we're playing genderqueer bingo today because we're watching Jeffrey Marsh. We have to play genderqueer bingo. Tomorrow for Socialism Saturday, we'll play socialism bingo. It's going to be great. So make sure you download your bingo card, and that's going to be awesome. All right. Of course, we have one last order of business before we get started. Now, we have a tradition on happy hour where it's happy hour. We have to have some beverages. And so I have my weekly tradition of heading over to the craft beer store and I get 4 beers. I'm not drinking them all on the show, but I'm going to tell you about the craft beer I have today because and then you guys are going to get to vote on which beer I start the day with. So, I am so excited about the beers that I got. I'm really, really excited, honestly. I went to a different craft beer store today because I was out running errands and it was just more convenient to the location. And I usually don't go there, so they have a slightly different selection. Let me show you what I got. All right. Our first one is from Pipe Dream Brewing, and I had to. It's called Basic Bitch. And this is a sour ale with strawberries. Pretty basic. Pipe Dream Brewing is going crazy. We packed this candy sour ale with so much flavor. It's like stars bursting in your mouth. How do we pack all that flavor in one can? Special mathematics, beer quantitations. Pipe Dream Brewing is a New Hampshire-based brewing company. Cheers, Pipe Dream Brewing. I'm really looking forward to that one. Next up, you're going to love this. Lollipop Forest. This is a sour ale with milk sugar, blackberry, and raspberry. And I think it is also a New Hampshire brewery. So cheers. There's no description, but it sounds pretty good. Lollipop Forest. All right, the next one. Peanut butter and jelly and fluff all in one beer. It is a sandwich in the form of a beer. This is from Works Brewing, which I think is in Maine. Oh, no, Colorado. I was wrong. This is from Works Brewing out of Colorado. And this is a beer brewed with peanut flour, marshmallow, milk sugar, strawberry, and raspberry puree. And it's called PB&J and Fluff. And our last one, and this might be the one that I'm most excited about. Check this out. Bam, bam, rubble, rubble. This is also from Works Brewing. And this is a sour ale with fruity rice cereal, strawberry, milk sugar, vanilla, marshmallow, and national flavor. It is literally a Fruity Pebbles beer. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. All right, I'm putting the poll in the chat. Bot is yelling at me not to skew the poll. You have the choice between Lollipop Forest, which is our sour with milk sugar, blackberry, and raspberry. You've got Basic Bitch, which is sour with strawberry. You've got PB&J and Fluff, and you've got Fruity Pebbles. Let me know which beer you want me to start off with today, and while you're doing that, I will get happy hour ready to go, and we'll get this party started. Thank you guys for joining me for happy hour. Please mount that like button if you have not already. We do happy hour every Friday at 5 p.m. so that we can all learn together. I streamed Matt Taibbi's testimony yesterday. So I streamed the whole thing. It's on the channel. You can watch it. All right, let me see. Looks like there's some disagreements about the beer to start with in the chat. Let's see. Oh, Fruity Pebbles is looking like it's going to win. All right, I'm closing voting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Fruity Pebbles it is, folks. Okay, let me just put the rest of the beer in this here cooler. If you're drinking something fun today, let us know what you're drinking in the chat. All right, let's see. Let's see what this beer looks like. Hopefully it won't explode. We had a beer explosion a couple weeks ago, and it was awful. Kino's drinking a rum and coke. All right, let's see what this beer looks like. Oh, I expected it to be more colorful, I have to say. This does not look like a Fruity Pebbles beer to me, but maybe it'll still be good. Just so you guys know, I was not expecting that to not have any color to it. Okay, well, you never know. This doesn't even smell like Fruity Pebbles. It tastes like Fruity Pebbles, though. That legitimately tastes like Fruity Pebbles. Oh my god. Wow. Well, okay, and last thing I'll say before we get started. So next week is St. Patrick's Day, right? I got a green beer for St. Patrick's Day called Shamrock Shake. And the woman at the beer store told me that it is actually green. So I was like, "Yes." No, I did not get gypped bought. It's just mysterious. All right, guys, we are watching Jeffrey Marsh Groom Teenagers, a presentation from 6 years ago, sponsored by an organization that is probably working with your child's school. Congratulations, guys. Let's get this party started and let's see what's what.
I think we're live.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I don't know if I can see everybody who's there, but if you are out there, hello. And so hello, everyone. So glad that you can make it to today's hangout, or today's Q&A called Self-Love and Gender Expression.
Yay.
And I'm hoping I'm talking to people, not like a room. But so I guess to start off, we'll all be kind of go around and introduce ourselves, who all these lovely people are, and kind of have a name to match the face. So I'll start off. I'm Maya. I'll be your moderator for today. I'm 17 years old. I live in Folsom near Sacramento in California. And I've been on the National Gender Youth Spectrum Council. I got those jumbled up for since 2015. So I just joined. And I think that's and I use they, them.
So we just learned that Gender Spectrum has a National Youth Council. Let's just keep that in the back of our mind.
Pronouns. That's important.
And she uses they, them pronouns.
So I guess the rest of the Gender Spectrum Youth Council members can go around and give that little spiel about yourself as well. So whoever would like to go first, just type up.
Okay, I'll go. My name's Matt. I'm 18 years old. I live in Fort Worth, Texas. I use he, him pronouns, and I've been on the youth council now for just this past year. So.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, Jeffrey.
That was so creepy.
I guess that leaves me. Hi, everyone. I'm Oslick, and I live in the greater Los Angeles area in California. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm 17 years old. I have been a part of the Youth Council for Gender Spectrum for a year, just like Maya and Matt.
Awesome.
And we all love Oslick's hair.
Yes.
Oh my god. Jeffrey Marsh is obviously so emotionally stunted, but I just want to point out something for Jack in the chat, and other people might be interested to know this too. So Jack says, wow, this shit was starting 6 years ago. Oh, no. It started way before that. I have found official equity plans in school districts starting around 2010, 2011. So this was starting way before 6 years ago. We just didn't know about it because no one was paying attention. This is why it's so important to pay attention.
And of
Am
course,
I supposed to say who I am?
Oh, well, I was going to do a little intro for you.
Oh, please. Go, I'll sit
but
back.
Of course. Last but never least, we have a very special guest, Jeffrey Marsh. And so just a little spiel that I wrote up last minute, but many of you probably know Jeffrey from their wonderful Vines and YouTube videos. Social media is often known for being used as a tool to perpetuate animosity, and often that violence is directly focused on LGBT people. So it's really awesome to kind of have somebody who's really counteracting that through social media and
Oh.
really spreading a message of love.
Grandma Nay is reminding me to do the chat rules, and this is a good idea because there are kids in this. And I think my volume might be a little high, so I apologize for that, guys. But the chat rules are: number 1, don't be a dick. Don't insult me. Don't insult other people in the chat. Number 2 is no whining. If I ask you to stop doing something, just stop doing it. Don't whine. Don't complain. I don't want to hear it. But number 3 in this case is really important. We do not make fun of children. And that 18-year-old, I'm included in the children, okay? We do not mock children. We don't insult children. Normally, I don't care if you insult people in the video, and I certainly don't care if you insult Jeffrey Marsh. Jeffrey Marsh, so far as I'm concerned, is absolutely fair game, but we do not target children. And the reason that we don't is because they are victims of this ideology. It has been hoisted upon them by people that they trust. And also, the chat on YouTube is public. And so I don't want to give these people any ammunition to come after us and call me a hate channel or to call you guys a hate channel. All right. We do not target children. They are victims of this ideology. If you have feelings about it, you are welcome to post them anywhere else on the internet that you want, but you cannot post them here. And if you do attack the children or insult the children in any way, I will immediately delete it and ban you, and there will not be a discussion. All right, let's keep going.
Self-acceptance and saying, like, really be yourself. So thank you so much, Jeffrey, for being here. And I'll turn it over to you to give a little spiel about yourself.
What? It's my favorite subject. Me.
He was 39 at the time
I
of
use
this
they, them
video.
pronouns as you used in your spiel. So A+ for that. Wow, you really started off in a wonderful place. The internet can be used for evil, for hate, for awfulness, for putting people down, for separating people. And I always wanted my Vine and my whole presence to be the opposite of that, to include everybody. So there, that's my spiel.
Definitely, thank you. So, of course, well, basically how this will be kind of going around with our Q&A is that, so the wonderful Youth Council members that we have here have prepared a couple of questions for you. And then after that, we'll turn it over to the audience, all you wonderful people who are watching us and listening in. And so basically, if you'd like to share a question, you'll have time at the end to, if you go to like the left, I believe there is like a little blue or box that says Q&A. And I believe that's where you can submit questions, if I'm not mistaken. So,
No, they Maya, you can speak. That's fine.
Oh.
Don't do your Q&A yet, right? Because we have our canned questions first, and then we're going to do
Sure.
Well, canned. I mean, I don't even know what they are, but you have your questions for me, and then we do Q&A.
Definitely. Okay, so I guess to start off, since one of the themes of this Q&A, this conversation was about self-expression, and you always have such wonderful outfits and in your Vines and your social media. So I was wondering, how would you describe your fashion style?
Wow. Do you know why I think it's funny that the very first thing they talked about was clothes? Because the way that these people sell gender expression to schools and kids in schools is they sell it like you're just putting on a new outfit. And you can take off that outfit at any time, but it's like they sell your gender as just an outfit that you can take on, take off, change at any time. Even if you cut off a body part, even if you sterilize yourself, it's just an outfit for you to express yourself. So I think it's really funny that they started off asking Jeffrey about his fashion sense. Got a super chat coming in from Jen. Yeah, clothes make the gender. That's exactly right, Sin. Exactly right. Jen says Jeffrey Marsh is the definition of stranger danger. They definitely gives me the skeevies. Oh God, Jeffrey Marsh plays the part of like like a grandmother. Like his voice like is like how an older woman would talk to you, and it's really really creepy. And I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what he's going for, but it's really odd. And it makes me feel very uncomfortable to watch him. And there's a reason that it makes us feel uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh, how would I define my
Or
fashion
describe
style?
it or define, yeah.
want to wear, which I guess is maybe self-explanatory, but I think a lot of people dress to impress others or to present some kind of image or to do something that's not as inherently self-expressive as what I wear. There was, everybody is sad about Prince dying. And there was an article, yeah, sorry to bring you down. There was an article in the Times today about how Prince wore heels all the time and would wear them to events and stuff like that. And I love that. I wear heels to special things and to not special things and to on Vine and not on Vine. And what I choose to wear is what pleases me and what I like to wear, which is what I would recommend everybody do. We're already getting to our theme of there is nothing wrong with you, love yourself, accept yourself.
Hang on, I got a super chat from Mama Tembo. Thank you, Mama. It seems like the gender ideology requires a certain level of innocence and naivete to actually flourish. Well, of course it does. Is that why they are going after children with such unadulterated abandon? It appears predatory from the outset. They are going after children, especially in elementary school. Again, I found this presentation based on a form that the state of Michigan is using in elementary school. They're going after kids when they're young because the logic reason function of our brain does not develop until we are around 25 years old, in our early to mid 20s. And so if they can get kids into this ideology before they are in their early to mid 20s, then it sticks. And they don't have the ability to question it. They don't have the ability to think critically about it. That part of our brain quite literally does not develop when we are in K through 12 school. We have the survival part of our brain. We have the emotional part of our brain. Teenagers are making decisions based much more significantly on emotions than adults are, because adults, and when I say adult, in this case, I'm talking about mid 20s, because that's when the logic part of our brain fully develops. Teenagers don't have that. And so most of their decision making is going to be almost entirely emotionally driven. What's going to make me feel good? What's going to help me fit in? How am I going to make friends? How am I going to get people to like me? How am I going to get people to date me? Etc., etc., etc. So if you can get into their brain before that logic function develops, it's much more likely to be effective. Now, here's the really scary part. If you get into their brain before they are 8 years old, then it really sticks. And this is why they're pushing gender ideology into elementary school, because anything that we learn, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise, before we are 8 years old is damn near impossible to unlearn later in life. And that's just the way our brain works. The brain has the greatest period of development up until the time we're 8 years old, and then the development of the brain slows down. So that's why they're pushing it younger and younger. F in the chat, I thought you were wrong saying fashion is gender. Well, I didn't say that, F in the chat. You got to open your ears. You got to listen. I didn't say that. They say that. They literally started the presentation saying that. So, again, we're here to listen. We're not here to hear what we want. We're here to hear what's actually being said. And I would encourage everyone to make sure they're listening to what's being said. All right, mount that like button for me, guys. Let's continue.
And the stuff you put on your body is a great way to do that. Because you have that little part of you that loves blingy stuff, right? That loves fun stuff to wear. And you let them pick out some things in the morning. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's gonna be consequences for that, but to me, it is worth mitigating the consequences in order to express myself. More on that later.
Definitely. So I guess
I love this gesture. Yes.
Oh, this one.
I think
So I
we
guess
should all do it.
So I know, like for me personally, my clothing preferences are kind of like not really influenced by my own gender. I kind of just dress stuff on to be comfortable, kind of like what I'm wearing right now because I'm cold, so I'm wearing my jacket. And do you find for yourself, do you express your own gender through your fashion? Or is it kind of more just like you just like wear what you like to wear sort of thing?
Can I say both? Is that an option?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Matthew's nodding. Okay. Good. Because I guess at the end of the day, I wish that we didn't live in a society where where a skirt had a gender, where clothing is specific to something, man or woman or whatever it's specific to. And I kind of wish that was a lot more open and free. So if it was totally free and that clothing had no meaning, then I guess it wouldn't be an expression of my gender. It would just be what people wear and what I wear and what I like to wear. But we're not at that point yet. So yes, it definitely expresses my gender. And the fact that I feel outside of the binary, outside of man versus woman, pants versus skirt. Did you ever notice, just as a sidebar, I don't mean to derail us, but women wear pants as a matter of course, but almost no men wear skirts.
Yeah.
So, well, you were thinking about that.
It's better to masculinize yourself rather than try and feminize yourself for some reason.
Better to masculinize yourself.
It's somehow society thinks it is. So,
Oslick, I heard your train in the background.
Yes.
Go buy your ticket, but don't leave yet. Oh, I'm sorry, Matthew. What were you saying? Masculine.
Yeah, I was just talking about how it's so. I feel it's really difficult in seeing.
My senior.
Wait, I want to hear what Matthew says.
What
and
the
then
hell
we'll get
is
to Maya.
What is this?
Matthew, what were you saying?
It's always interesting to me how it seems better. Women wearing pants is masculinizing somehow, and so somehow then when a man, if they wanted to wear a skirt, it's feminizing and it's more frowned upon because it's feminizing yourself, and somehow that's worse.
Yeah, and now we get to misogyny.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's sort of like when a woman puts on a pair of pants or a man's suit, she's somehow trying to have a better station in life. But if a man puts on women's clothes, it's like he's lessening himself. Something like that, Matthew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
We
was
don't believe that, but
straight
yes, that's
indoctrination.
how
What
society
Jeffrey
is
just
working.
did.
Maya, hit it.
Did you guys see what just happened? Because teachers do this in school all the time, and I want to make sure you can see what just happened so that you can identify it, because most of the people who do this are not going to show up as creepy as Jeffrey Marsh is. What just happened is that kid, the 18-year-old, had some idea in his head that he was like working through. Oh yeah, it's okay for, men to do this or women to do that, whatever. Then Jeffrey Marsh said, Matthew, do you mean that's the patriarchy? That's the patriarchy, Matthew. And then Matthew was like, yes, Jeffrey, that's exactly what I meant. So the kid didn't know. The kid was like trying to regurgitate ideas that he had heard before. And we'll rewind in a second and watch it again. And then Jeffrey was like, Matthew, what you're really saying is the patriarchy. That's what you meant, isn't it, Matthew? Jeffrey Marsh is looking for ways to guide the conversation to tell the kids where to go. The kids are not getting there on their own, though. But let's just watch that again. I really want everyone to understand what just happened.
It's somehow society thinks it is. So,
Oslick, I heard your train in the background.
Yes.
Go buy your ticket, but don't leave yet. Oh, I'm sorry, Matthew. What were you saying? Masculine.
Yeah, I was just talking about how it's so. I feel it's really difficult in seeing.
My senior.
Wait, I want to hear what Matthew says, and then we'll get to Maya. Matthew, what were you saying?
it's always interesting to me how it seems better. Women wearing pants is masculinizing somehow. And so somehow then when a man, if they wanted to wear a skirt, it's feminizing and it's more frowned upon because it's feminizing yourself, and somehow that's worse.
Yeah, and now we get to misogyny.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's sort of like
They want to please him.
when a woman puts on a pair of pants or a man's suit, she's somehow trying to have a better station in life. But if a man puts on women's clothes, it's like he's lessening himself. Something like that, Matthew?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. We don't believe that, but yes, that's how society is working. Maya, hit it. What
Oh,
were you gonna say?
oh,
Something about being in college?
oh no, it was actually, I was just, my senior project was about, like, I did a coloring book that talks about, like, defining, what's the word? Defying gender norms. And so there was, I had a specific thing in my presentation about, like, why can't a boy wear a dress and that sort of thing. So that kind of was like, yes, sort of conversation I was just having. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Can I tell a little tiny story for 1 second?
Sure.
Okay. When I was in kindergarten, in order to learn about the weather, to teach us about the weather, my teacher cut out, I have a vivid memory of it, cut out in felt they were naked. They weren't accurate, but a boy and a girl.
Oh, thank you, Rosalind. What a nice super chat. Hi, Carlin. Really enjoying your content. I really do appreciate that, Rosalind. Thank you so very much. Guys, if you enjoy my content, please mount that like button for me. Again, we do happy hour every Friday at 5 p.m. We watch trainings just like this so that you can see exactly and precisely what the woke left is teaching your kids when they think you're not looking.
With nothing. They were just blank slates, but they had no clothes on. And felt sticks to felt. So we had this big board and the felt characters would go on there and we would decide what they would wear every day for the weather, to learn about what to dress like for the weather. So sweaters, jackets, umbrella, right? But we were also being taught what boys wear and what girls wear because it was half and half. And you couldn't put the clothes over here on this half on that character on the other half.
Why not?
Right? And it was just a big binary.
Did
And I
the teacher
remember
actually
being
make that rule?
totally confused about the whole thing. That's kindergarten for you. Okay, back on track.
So
I think
Jeffrey is suggesting that he wants to start disrupting the gender binary as early as kindergarten in schools. That's nice.
will be has the next question.
Yes. So my question to you, Jeffrey, is that how did you gain confidence to present as yourself? And do you have any advice for young gender nonconforming people who want to transition?
Yeah, and can you say a little bit more about transition? What do you mean?
As in,
not necessarily like sex reassignment surgery or transgender or whatever, but just
anything that involves them being more confident, I guess, and loving themselves, as in the transition to self-love and the transition to self-expression.
I think
what were we going to say, Matthew?
Sorry. I was also saying maybe she, in my mind, that came across as transitioning from outside of the gender binary, possibly.
Sure.
Jeffrey is, I want everyone to pay attention to how Jeffrey is speaking to Matthew specifically, because has anyone else noticed this? Jeffrey is really paying attention to Matthew. Like every time one of the girls says something and Matthew might be there in the back, he's like, "What did you say, Matthew? I'd like to hear from Matthew. Matthew, what do you mean by that?" So let's just keep an eye on that.
Or yeah, so any of that stuff. And yeah, transitioning to self-love. That is, we need that on a t-shirt for everybody, because the first thing that dropped in, the first thing I thought of was everybody is transitioning to that. I hope.
Yeah.
whether they're LGBT or whatever, LGBTQ or anything, that we're all transitioning towards self-love. So how do you do that? Let yourself off the hook, practice it, give yourself space, Google some things, right? It's not like the information isn't out there. It's more that we have all been taught that we don't deserve to do such a thing, that we shouldn't do that, and that kind of transition to self-love isn't worth our time, and we aren't worth doing it. So the first step is get over that, and then just ask people that seem to be happy where they're going, what they're doing.
So basically, he's saying to these kids that in order to love yourself, we need to get rid of the gender binary. And you will never love yourself if you remain beholden to the gender binary. Does that seem a little bit creepy to anyone else?
And if you want, Oslik, do you want specifics? What do you want?
I do. I would really like to know how you gained confidence to present as yourself.
Right, that's what you said. Yeah, I gained confidence by dancing on my roof dressed as the Statue of Liberty. That's not really a good answer, is it? Because that kind of makes...
I love that answer.
Okay, good. Because that sounds like I had confidence already, doesn't it? Maybe I was born with it. It definitely takes a knowledge that no matter what happens, you will not abandon you. Now, how did I transition to that? It was a matter of, and this ties into the advice part that you were asking about, Oslik. It was a matter of realizing that the adults and the bullies and everybody around me was a human being just like me, and not somebody who was better than me. So I had a tough time, gosh, being myself in school. And because, as you might have noticed, I'm old. Did you see these crow's feet? I'm older than you all. And so I grew up in the dark ages when, there weren't even queer people on TV. Oh, sad, violin. But it wasn't that sad. It was just difficult at school because they didn't know what to do with me. And I had to realize, oh, they're struggling. They're just human beings.
Great point, Mama.
Just like I am. We're all actually equals and we're all in it together. Does that help, Oslik?
That does. I'm pretty sure that helps a lot. And by the way, although you grew up in the dark ages, you still look fabulous.
Thank you. I bring light now, hopefully.
Fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's part of the advice that I would give to anybody now. And actually, when I say you're off the hook, I mean you're not going to get it right. No, identity doesn't work that way. It is a long process. It is trying this, trying that, seeing if you like these shoes, seeing if you like those shoes.
I just want to pause for a super chat. We got one from Jen. Thank you, Jen. I wish these kids were taught the history of fashion through centuries and decades rather than Jeffrey teaching them about fashion through the sense of binary and non-binary. I totally agree with that. I mean, you could do that in an art class. You could do that in a history class. You could combine the two. That's a really interesting topic. That's a topic you could even teach history related to the different eras of the fashion. Like, I would be totally on board with kids learning that in school. It's much better than this. You could teach them how to sew the clothes. They could take a sewing class, learn how to make something useful. That would be really worthwhile. Great idea, Jen.
Seeing if you like this color, that color, right? Seeing if you like that TV show. It's all a matter of experimenting and giving yourself room so that experimenting is okay. If you try to do it right, if you try to get it perfect, you're just setting yourself up for not enjoying yourself.
That was very nice. And Jeffrey, I have a question now. My question is...
I love your curtain.
Thank you.
Oh my God!
But my question is, and you might have just answered it with what you just said, but what is to you think the most important thing to remember?
I don't know why that
about
was so
self-love?
creepy to me, but that was. Hang on.
Ooh, yes.
I didn't even hear the question he asked because I was so horrified that out of nowhere Jeffrey Marsh was trying to connect with this kid and say like, I love your curtain. Yes, it was a love bomb. That's exactly it. Everyday therapist, do you think Jeffrey Marsh is a legitimate narcissist? Because I do. I absolutely do. That was like a narcissist love bomb right there. And the way he at the beginning of the presentation said, like, we get to talk about my favorite topic. Me. Yeah, he really is love bombing that poor kid. Let's just rewind and watch that again. That was creepy, and I actually want to hear what he said too. So, okay.
That was very nice. And Jeffrey, I have a question now. My question is,
I love your curtain.
thank you. It's my only background I have. But my question is, and you might have just answered it with what you just said, but what is to you think the most important thing to remember about self-love?
Yeah,
Ooh,
definitely.
yes, letting yourself off the hook is absolutely important to remember.
That was flirting.
I think the most important thing to remember, and this comes with a caveat, which I'll get to, is that everyone deserves self-love. And we could take the self off. Everyone deserves love. Now, the caveat is if someone's being mean to you, abusive to you, don't try to love them, right? Just get out of the situation, right? You don't need to fix or try to change anybody else. You can know, and actually you can know in your heart that everyone deserves love and only choose to hang out with supportive, nice people. You can love someone from afar. I'm thinking, I get messages all the time. So if someone just messaged me about their mom, it's not going well with their mom, and it is possible this person's over 18. It is possible to lessen the amount of time that you talk to mom and love her completely. It is possible to have love in your heart for everyone and not spend your time around haters.
I really like that.
Okay,
Haters.
good. I like it too.
So, going off on what we asked in the past couple of questions, we keep saying self-love, love yourself, do this, do that. But how do you define self-love? And
yes, what are we talking about?
exactly, because some people are like, what the heck is self-love? Don't we all love ourselves? What's going on? So how do you define self-love, Jeffrey? And what do you think is the best way to channel our inner awesomeness in some ways?
What was that last part? Channel our inner awesomeness
in some ways.
In some ways, yeah. Oh gosh, again, that takes practice, and start practicing right away. That's the answer to inner awesomeness. As far as a definition for self-love, that again can be an experiment. To me, it's learning to see yourself from the outside. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like when I was able to sort of step outside my own life and look back at Jeffrey and see when I was young and see that Jeffrey was really struggling and that Jeffrey really deserves love and attention and support. It was sort of, I don't want to sound too like woo woo, right? I wasn't floating above my body or anything. I just realized that this person is as deserving as anybody else for love and attention. So part of the definition of self-love is that view of yourself from outside your own life. That view of yourself, it's seeing yourself as you would see a dear friend. We don't even have to go that far. People treat themselves worse than they treat their pets. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They withhold affection from themselves and love and take care of their dog. And you just
Okay, we have to give credit where credit is due. Jeffrey's actually making a fair point in this one narrow thing. In the point that people treat their pets better than they treat themselves. That is Jeffrey is correct about that in that one narrow point. And I do think it's important that people think about that. No one's saying to treat your pets bad. No one is saying that. Don't fucking twist words. I don't like that shit. What he is saying is love yourself as much as you're going to love other things in your life. That is actually a good lesson that I think some of us should probably think about. Oh, is Everyday Therapist saying he's doing NLP? Yeah, I think he is doing NLP. I think you're right about that. Jen says, it seems like these minors are confusing and Jeffrey is moving in along where self-love is now being confused with what should be self-esteem. I think the two can be interchangeable. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Jen. You might disagree, but I think the two can be interchangeable for sure. Guys, please make sure to mount that like button for me. Now, when you're mounting the like button, you're not liking Jeffrey. What you're liking is me showing you what Jeffrey is doing. And when you mount that like button for me, you are going to make this content available to be suggested to more people on YouTube. So please go ahead. If you appreciate the fact that we are sitting here watching this because I randomly found it on a YouTube channel the other day, please mount that like button for me so that we can expose this information to more people. It's important. It just takes a second. I really appreciate it. And we are literally only mounting the like button, okay? It's not for him, it's for us.
Your dog deserves love. I'm not denigrating dogs. But you deserve love too, and affection and support, and to be let off the hook. And you actually, in some ways, are just as innocent as your dog. You're just as enthusiastic. You're just as happy. Your heart is as full of love as most dogs' hearts are. But I think I've gone off on a tangent.
It's a lovely tangent.
Thank you. Self-love is the practice of taking good care of yourself. And those elements we know, right? Eat good things, get some exercise.
Hang on. I'm not going to put up with any gay hating in my chat. There will be no gay hating here. This is an LGBTQ activist. Normal LGBT people don't do this stuff. They don't like this stuff. We are not going to do gay hating on my channel. You can save that for Twitter or whatever alt-right forum you're in. I don't really care, but you ain't doing it here.
Meditate if you're into that. Hang around with good friends, right? The elements are there. The self-love part to me is doing that intentionally, doing it on purpose because you see your own value. How'd I do, Oslick?
You did really well.
Okay, good. I'm counting on you to keep me on track if I forget to answer any part of your question.
Don't worry, answer the prompt.
Okay,
Check.
Good.
So after
Who's
all
next?
these,
That's you, Maya?
Yeah,
Okay.
after all these very deep questions, I feel like I will come back to asking about your wardrobe. But I actually wanted to know if you have
I thought
like
you
a
were going to
favorite
ask me
piece of
about mashed potatoes.
Oh, mashed potatoes.
That's my favorite food
Are
of
they?
all time.
Oh, well, I am asking about a favorite piece of jewelry or other accessory. Like, do you have like a I don't know, because I have earrings, but do you have like a favorite like accessory that you like to like wear? I don't know. I'm always just probing into your like what you wear.
Of course. I mean, do you mean like a favorite category of accessory or like a specific thing that I have?
Mm-hmm.
Or I could answer both.
Can I say both?
Yeah. Well, if we're talking about category of accessories, it is seasonal, of course, because you must adjust.
True.
In the winter time, when I have a big winter coat, I always, and I swap it out. I have a brooch collection. And so I always wear a brooch on the shoulder here. So I have a big black winter coat that comes up, and I wear a shiny, delicious, gorgeous brooch on the shoulder. And that's my favorite thing. In the sort of transition, spring, fallish, or in the evening, in the summertime, I like a big scarf. And my most famous vine is the scarf wrapped around
Yes.
my head.
Yeah, I know that vine.
I can predict the future. Vine. And with the orange lipstick and the lips that are on the scarf, that's one of my favorite scarves. So actually, of all the things that I own, that is my favorite piece. So there you go. I answered the other question too.
Thank
That's
you.
good. You're welcome.
And then I think our next question is from Matthew, if I'm not mistaken.
I was thinking about scarves. I wanted to know, what are some things that you do on a daily basis that kind of remind yourself that you are loved? Because I know for me, one of the things that I kind of do every day is I kind of just, I don't say anything. I just kind of look in the mirror, and sometimes I can just kind of tell myself, like, it's okay, you're here, you're fine, you're safe. And I just want to know, maybe there's anything sort of like that, whether it was a meditation or putting on your makeup or wearing a certain outfit or doing daily affirmations. What's something you do every day that kind of just makes yourself remember that you are loved?
I'm going off on a tangent first and then I'm coming back. I was in therapy a while ago and years ago, and the therapist gave me an assignment to look in the mirror and say, I love you 10 times. And I remember that being the hardest thing I could ever imagine doing. Every kind of resistance, like, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. It made me feel things that I wasn't comfortable with. So it's a process. And once you get your things that you like to do, trust me, you'll get addicted to them and you'll love them. My things are meditation every day. I have an hour-long walk every day. And in that hour-long walk, I listen to things that make me feel good. So podcasts or whatever that are really, I don't listen to bitter things during that hour, at least. I don't really listen to them ever. But daily meditation, and I'll let you in on a huge secret that I've never told anybody before, but making vines, in the business, we call it content. So like doing my photos for Instagram, writing out my tweets, doing a video for YouTube, right? Making a vine. Those things I decided to make into affirmations for myself, to make into a spiritual act of love. So, because I happen to be in a position where I need to create a lot of that stuff. So it just seemed to go hand in hand. And so that's actually, here's the real deep secret. That's what makes me so grateful for you guys and for the people I connect with online. Because if I didn't have people to do those creative things for, I wouldn't be able to feel as much love as I do.
Wow, thank you very much, Jeffrey. I like that.
Of course. Now I have a question for you though.
Okay.
So you say nice things in the mirror, but what are your other tips and hints?
Why is he asking the kid questions? Again,
for me,
he is paying extra attention to this child, and it is creepy. Has he asked either of the girls questions? No. I wonder why he is really focusing on Matthew.
This might be kind of weird.
I
I love putting on
18.
my binder. I know a lot of trans guys really hate it because it's constricting and it hurts to breathe and it's annoying a lot of the time, but I love putting it on and then looking at myself, because for me, my chest was such a dysphoric area, and it still is, and it probably will be for like a little while until I keep working on that. But putting it on, the very first time I ever put on a binder was probably one of the happiest moments I've ever had in my transition. And to look in the mirror and see, like, and every time I get a new binder, or even just looking at it and knowing that the old ones are kind of still there, it just is something that shows me progress. It's something that shows me that I'm still moving forward. And anytime I feel stuck or anytime I just feel down, it just reminds me that even when I take it off and like it's revealing something I'm not proud of necessarily, it reminds me that there's something to look forward to. And it reminds me that I'm always moving forward.
A binder is like a really tight sports bra that trans people will wear to flatten the boobs so that they basically disappear.
Wow. So putting on that binder is an act of love.
Yeah.
For you.
Putting on
Most
the
definitely.
binder is an act
Yeah,
of
and then
love.
we're back to Maya, right? So what you wear is your self-expression and your love for
1000%.
yourself. Yeah. Okay, who's next?
Okay. Oh wait. Just before we get to that. Oh, and it's getting a little echoey. But
I think it went away. Good.
okay, that's good. So before we get to that, I just wanted, since we have I think 2 more questions, if I'm correct,
Jada.
and then we'll be transitioning into the public Q&A. I wanted to again
Way to go.
reiterate how you send in those questions for all you people who are like, oh, I want to ask something. So so if you'd like to ask questions, you can click on the cluster of squares. Oh, it's getting echoey again. Is it still echoey? Okay, well, you can click on the cluster of squares in the top right part of your screen. And click on that, you'll be able to move back and forth between the Q&A function and the showcase. And the showcase is where there will be a lot of different, like there will be a lot of different resources. There will be some links to the Gender Spectrum Lounge and groups you can join there as well, and things like that. So if just that's just like a little techie bit before we head on into I think Ozig's next question. So if you have any questions rattling around in your heads, be sure to submit them in the Q&A.
Is it on the left side or the right side? The Q&A button.
I think for our viewers, it's for the right side, and then for us, it's on the left side.
Okay. Look around for that Q&A, and then type something in there, and I'll answer whatever you want. Okay.
Then I think I'll turn it over to Ozig. Yeah.
Yes, that's me. So we kept talking about ourselves and what we can do, but it's undeniable that when you step outside, it still can sometimes hurt you what people say, small things that people do. So what do you think a good ally acts, looks, and sounds like?
Oh gosh, I don't care what they act like. I mean, well, I don't care what they look like for sure, but a good ally is someone who is willing to grow with you. And the person I think of is my mom. Her first reaction to me coming out and telling her that I was queer was absolutely not. You're too young. You don't know anything about that, right? But she was willing through the years as I was growing to accept myself to grow along with me. So to me, an advocate, a true advocate, doesn't have to be perfect right away and never forget your pronouns and always say the perfect thing, right? A true advocate for me is willing to see you as a human being and grow with you. So look for those people. And they might be grandma, or they might be, someone in a lower grade than you, or, somebody at church or somebody at whatever group you go to. Keep your eyes peeled. And I think, kindness and respect is certainly part of it. Is that what you meant? What you were asking about?
Definitely. I was trying to get the viewers a sense of, hey, I have a friend who's like this. How can I help them? How can I helpful? How can I be kind to them? And it really, I think it's in the simple things. It's in respecting, it's in listening.
Yeah. Yes, the simple things, respecting and listening. And I was considering the other day how much joy and psychological health you can give someone by using their pronouns. It's just such a simple thing, but when someone does it, still to this day for me, I feel respected, recognized, loved, noticed, appreciated, all that stuff. And it's just a word. It's so powerful that way. Yeah, you're right. Simple things.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
All right,
Is
and
it echoing?
oh,
No, I think we're good.
okay. So final question, and I just wanted to ask. I know for a lot of younger people, it can, and even adults, because everybody's always growing up. Nobody ever really does. What is
Not
something?
true, young
I know
one.
you said
Not true.
quite a bit about letting yourself off the hook and trying to just move toward the self-love. And for the people though who are having a really hard time with that, especially the people who are gender non-conforming, you know, what is something you want to say to them when they are going through this rough time?
First is there is nothing wrong with you. No matter who tells you there is, no matter who says mean things to you, whether that person is in a position of authority or they're your sibling or anything, there is fundamentally deep down nothing wrong with who you are. For so many of us, not everybody, but so many of us, gender and gender expression is a process. It is something we discover about ourselves. It is something and that's not to say it's not innate, of course it is, but it is something that we learn to express as we go along. And just give yourself plenty of space. My goodness. Just give yourself the space to, you know, I don't think this, and this is a philosophical thing, which we can talk about if you want, but mistakes are fake, right? I don't think mistakes are an actual thing that actually happens in the real world. But give yourself space to act in lots of different ways and to have lots of things happen to you. That's all. Because you deserve that.
All right, that was really sweet. And we do have already one question from the audience. The question is from Kim, and Kim says they have a 5-year-old child who is amazing, and it seems that there's such a push to decide if you are female or male, and they feel like checking one box or another might not be the answer. How do you feel?
How do I feel about 5-year-olds? I love 5-year-olds.
Oh my God!
No, this reminds me of a couple I know who actually has decided not to gender their kid. Mm-hmm. Yet they're using they, them pronouns and they're not telling anybody.
I was unprepared. I was unprepared for that moment. Yeah, that was quite a Freudian slip if I've ever seen one. Oh, Sin, we're going to rewind. I'm going to make a clip of it. I'm making a clip right now. Yeah, Travis, I think we were all unprepared for that. That was the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. All right, it's clipping time. Hang on, I just need to get my clip configuration all set up here. Yeah. Ready to go. That's going on Twitter. Like right fucking now, I'll tell you that. It's like we're not delaying on this one going on Twitter. All right. My God.
How do you feel?
Hang on, I just need to rewind a little bit.
5-year-old child who is amazing, and it seems that there's such a push to decide if you are female or male, and they feel like checking one box or another might not be the answer. How do you feel?
Hang on, I'm gonna rewind a little bit more. We're gonna start a little bit earlier than that. I want to get the beginning of the question, and sorry guys, I'm still frazzled from what we just saw.
and to have lots of things happen to you. That's all. Because you deserve that.
All right, that was really sweet. And we do have already one question from the audience. The question from Kim, and Kim says they have a 5-year-old child who is amazing, and it seems that there's such a push to decide if you are female or male, and they feel like checking one box or another might not be the answer. How do you feel?
How do I feel about 5-year-olds? I love 5-year-olds. No, this reminds me of a couple I know who actually has decided not to gender their kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they're using they them pronouns and they're not telling anybody the gender of the kid until the kid is at a certain point that the kid wants to decide what pronouns and what if they want to be seen as a certain gender, what they'll announce to the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great act of care. And I'm also reminded of a teacher I met, because I do public speaking too, and I spoke to a bunch of teachers, and I met a teacher who was cisgendered, who wanted to use they them pronouns in their classroom as a way to support non-binary students, even though they were cisgendered. So they wanted to move themselves toward they them as a show of support. All of that is to say, yes, go for it. I think checking one box or another is horrible. And it's one of the reasons I hate the DMV so much. I don't know if you call it that where you are in Texas. The Department of Motor Vehicles. That place is binaristic. Anyway.
All right. I'm gonna end the clip there. Hang on, guys. Let me just get this edited like real quick. This is gonna take like 30 seconds. Please bear with me. I just want to put this out on Twitter like now because, well, reasons. How do you guys feel about what we just watched? Is that as creepy as I think it is? That was pretty bad. He's training teachers. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Isn't that nice? Hang on, guys. Just one sec. I just got to edit this real quick. One sec. This will take like 30 seconds. I can do it real quick because it's a really short clip. And then I just need to export it. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Please mount that like button while we're waiting. This is the reason that we watch Happy Hour, guys. This is the reason we watch it from start to finish, because these are the types of things that you don't get unless you watch the full training from start to finish. Hang on one sec. All right, I got it. Exporting. Wow. Jeffrey Groomer. Jeffrey Marsh loves 5-year-olds. We do Happy Hour every Friday at 5 p.m. I hope you'll join us next week. Please mount that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. I'm here to expose bullshit like this because no one else but only 500 people in the world saw this presentation before us. There have been more people who watched this presentation in this here stream than have ever seen this presentation. This is why we watch Happy Hour. We watch the unwatched grooming videos on the internet that have just been sitting there for years and no one bothered to watch them because they were like, it's stupid. I don't want to. It's hard. They're awful. They're mentally ill. We watch the hard things because it's the only way you expose bullshit like this. Guys, if you want to support the work I'm doing, please make sure you're subscribed to my Substack. It is pinned to the top of the chat. This is what I do all day, every day with your support, and I really do appreciate it.
Any support you can give to your 5-year-old, your 13-year-old, your 63-year-old in your life, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
And I kind of want to say something just because I have sort of a connection to this. My parents, they did sort of check a box whenever I was a kid, but I think that's because they didn't know there was an option not to check a box or if there was an option. So I think personally, for me, I did have a box checked, but the moment I told my parents, I don't know if I like that box that you put me in, they didn't stop me. They didn't say it wasn't okay. They were supportive. And so if you are afraid of checking a box, if you feel pressured, people, I think, can make choices that have to get changed later, not necessarily say mistakes, because I agree with you in that mistakes don't happen. And if a box gets checked and later on in life, the 5-year-old says, you know what, I don't like that box, the best thing to do is just say, okay, that's fine. It wasn't, I made that choice, not you. So now it's your choice and you can make that. Because I remember my parents, though they had checked the box, they never told me you had to wear a dress. They never, when I have a vivid memory of when I was 4 years old, I had a dinosaur themed birthday party, and it was like, and I had all guy friends. I had like maybe 2 girls there.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh
It was a
my God,
Triceratops.
Jeffrey.
It's
The
changed.
theme is all Triceratops?
Can you please stop flirting with the child live on the internet? He knew he was live on the internet. He has been flirting with this kid the entire presentation. This is legitimately one of the creepiest groomer fucking webinars I've ever seen. Jeffrey Marsh has, if you just joined us, Jeffrey Marsh has been flirting with this kid the entire presentation. Not treating the other 2 presenters like that, just this kid.
Oops.
No, it wasn't. It was
General
all
dinosaurs.
kind of dinosaurs, because they couldn't get me just a Triceratops, so they got me
Oh,
all.
I love it. I love it.
But just support the kid, and I mean, even if a box gets checked and they like that box, but then they also want to express themselves on another end or outside of the box, but they still like the box, then just let it happen and just be supportive in every way that you can. And so those are my
I
thoughts.
agree. Yes.
And then I do think we have another question. Maya, you want to take this one?
Yes, and thank you everybody for all your wonderful questions. Like, keep coming, keep them in. I mean, like, keep putting them the right-hand side box thing that I don't know. I hope everybody can find it. But anyway, this one is from Bradley Gwynn. I hope I'm not pronouncing that horribly. And it reads, "Thank you so much for having this conversation. You're all amazing and incredibly positive." Jeffrey.
I agree.
Jeffrey, you spoke about how much the folks you speak to online bring you joy. Can you, and anyone else on this, share why an online community is so important?
Oh gosh, I'll go first. If that's okay. I think that having a place to truly be yourself is of the utmost importance. And I see a lot of people doing that on Tumblr most of all, I would say. Vine can be a bit of a hateful environment, which is unfortunate. But the way Tumblr is set up, it's very community oriented, and I just see people doing that. But I think the importance of it is that you can.
He's encouraging children to go onto Tumblr. Tumblr, for those of you who don't know, is one of the websites that is one of the places that you want to keep your children off of at all costs. You block that shit on their computers. I don't care how they feel about it. This is where they are going to be socially transitioned and get involved in all of this groomer shit. It is coming out of Tumblr. And he's recommending teenagers go on it. Oh, great.
And be yourself and have that mirrored for you, have that accepted in an online space, even if it's not accepted in your offline life. It's so imperative to have at least one place where you feel supported and loved. So what do you guys think?
I would really like to contribute to this. I feel like what makes the online community so special is the fact that it's so diverse, and with 7+ billion people on the planet, it's impossible to.
Guys, I'm popping a link in the chat to the clip that I just put on Twitter. If you would be so inclined to retweet that, if you are on Twitter, and tell people they need to watch that shit, that would be really great. I would really appreciate it.
To meet every single person and to find people who are like you. And the internet and the online community makes it so much easier for people to find people like them. Like-minded people come together through just a simple hashtag. And I think that's what makes it so special. It's the community and the accessibility, and people are within reach. People are a click away from you. And that's why it's important, because it makes people who.
Hi, Odin's Men. Thank you for stealing my shit, Odin's Men. I do appreciate you watching and stealing my shit and not crediting me, Odin's Men. Don't think I don't see you on Twitter stealing my shit and pawning it off as your own, Odin's Men. I don't know which one of you is doing this in the chat. Probably someone I blocked. But someone who definitely doesn't follow me on Twitter is currently watching this stream to steal my shit. See, this is the only way conservative influencers can find this stuff, is if they watch my content and stalk my content and then make believe that they found the content when in fact they're just pawning off other people's work as their own. Happens all the time. So shout out Odin's Men. I see you on Twitter right now. Thank you to the person who tagged me in it. I really do appreciate you letting me know that other people are stealing my content and not even doing the service of tagging me in the tweets that you are stealing my content for. You lazy fucking piece of garbage. At least send in a super chat if you're going to steal my shit, dude. Naruto, leftists are losing their mind. Glenn Beck bought the largest collection of Roe v. Wade papers. Oh, did he really? I sent a couple super chats a few minutes ago. Oh, I didn't see them, Naruto. Thank you for letting me know. I apologize. I was clipping something, so I didn't see those. Let me go back. Let me see. We got this one. Did you see James Lindsay's thread on woke as a hysterical woman? Yeah, I saw it. I don't necessarily agree with him on that. I don't disagree with his conclusion. I disagree with his premise. All right, let's continue to watch so Odin's Men on Twitter can continue to steal my shit. God forbid, I wouldn't want to do a disservice to Odin's Men to provide him with content that he can post on Twitter and pretend that he found it. You know? I wonder how much other of my content he's stolen.
Who are miles away from you, so tangible and so real. I mean, how could I ever have a Texan friend if I never visited Texas? But hey, Matt's here in this broadcast with us today, right? So,
Yeah.
or Maya, you meet so many people. I would have never met you, Jeffrey, if it wasn't for the internet. So the internet makes people so tangible, and it creates role models that
I'm coming to your house. No way.
Please do. The door's open.
Okay. I
I
totally agree.
I definitely agree with Oslik. In my opinion, I think the online community is just important because it spreads knowledge. Even if sometimes it's not the best knowledge to be spread, it's still knowledge. And I don't ever think that that's a horrible thing. I think all knowledge is important. And for me, I really loved the online community that I found because that's sort of how I discovered I was transgender in a way. It's how I discovered what it was really and how I made that connection to myself. I was talking to a friend and I was just talking about my feelings and about how I didn't feel like I was really somewhere right in life. I didn't feel right. And
I think something just happened that I missed because I wasn't paying attention. I was retweeting something. So let me just rewind real quick. I apologize, guys. I should have been paying attention, but I wasn't. It's about feeling love, community, online spaces, Tumblr. Okay. Let's go there.
With us today, right? So,
yeah.
Or Maya, you meet so many people. I would have never met you, Jeffrey, if it wasn't for the internet. So the internet makes people so tangible, and it creates role models that
I'm coming to your house. No way.
Please do. The door's open.
Okay. I
I
totally agree.
I definitely agree with Oslik. In my opinion, I think the online community is just important because it spreads knowledge. Even if sometimes it's not the best knowledge to be spread, it's still knowledge. And I don't ever think that that's a horrible thing. I think all knowledge is important. And for me, I really loved the online community that I found because that's sort of how I discovered I was transgender in a way. It's how I discovered what it was really and how I made that connection to myself. I was talking to a friend and I was just talking about my feelings and about how I didn't feel like I was really somewhere right in life. I didn't feel right. And when I was talking with them, they just told me, you know, I saw this YouTube video and I think you should check it out. And the moment I did, I found this huge community.
Oh, good. Groomed on YouTube. The reality is he probably doesn't make his original content. He probably steals it from other people. If he's stealing one thing, he's stealing a lot more stuff, and people need to be aware of this. I just retweeted him, bot.
On YouTube of transgender men who were telling their stories, telling about what it was like growing up for them, telling about what they felt. And I think that seeing that, even though I never spoke to them personally and it wasn't directed at me, and there was that community there, though, there were people out there who were like me, who felt like me. And so I didn't have to say I belong to that community, but I could still say I identify close to those same people. I could still say, you know, this was something that was me. And I think it's really the reason that I was able to come out was because I was able to find people who were able to help me put a label, not necessarily to label myself, but put an idea to what it was I was feeling.
To respect you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's great.
Okay, so moving on to the next question from the audience. Let's see, we have Kyla, who says, well, Maya says, hi, Kyla. So Kyla says, Jeffrey, you all, thank you again for your words and your work. It's such a breath of fresh air. Wait, it just went away. Okay, no, it's right here. I lost it.
I'm not sure if it's been asked already.
Yeah, so he's saying that Odin's Man is saying on Twitter right now that someone just sent him the link for this presentation and he just happened to post it while I was live streaming it on the internet. And it just happened to be a presentation from 2016 that only 500 people have even watched before this. And he just happened to get sent the link today by someone else and just happened to post it while I was streaming it live. He's a liar. Don't ever believe that asshole again. He can go fuck himself.
Breath of fresh air. I'm not sure if exactly it's been already asked, but what do you do to take care of yourself on the particularly hard days? And Maya, Kyla here, proud of you and your peers. So Maya, Kyla's proud of you.
Thank you, Kyla. On the particularly hard days, this is going to sound so awful. Are you ready? You've got to just have your hard day. This question comes up so often, and it's always worded like, how do I not have a hard day? And I'm sorry, or what do I do to get out of it, right? Or get over it? Sorry, you're human and you have bad days. The best thing to do is to take care of yourself as best you can. Yeah, give yourself
All you
tons
had
of
to do was
love
tag
in
me,
any way that you can, and have your hard day. Break down.
Okay,
Cry.
we need to pay attention to Jeffrey.
Call a friend. Whatever you want to do, give yourself tons of space to do that thing. And
we need to pay more attention to Jeffrey than we are that conservative jackass on Twitter who is currently stealing my work. And do you know what part he clipped too? This is the last thing I'm going to say about it, I promise. You know what part he clipped? The part where all of us commented on Jeffrey complimenting that kid's curtains. So a part that we literally stopped the presentation to comment on because it was so creepy, that just happened to be the part that he clipped. And he claims he just happened to have been sent the presentation separately when we just happened to be streaming it on the internet. That guy is a liar. Brian, I'm pretty sure that was the person who got banned from your account earlier, calling out. I bet it was Brian calling out the previous tweet about calling out LGBT. I bet, Brian, I bet you're right about that. Well, just because it's full of stolen content doesn't make it correct. Here is the thing, guys. I do this all day, every day. I do original content and original journalism all day, every day, for everyone's benefit. This is what I spend all of my time doing. I don't take vacations. I don't take days off. I don't do any of the things that normal people do because I'm doing this. And then while I'm spending all my time doing this, conservative jackasses on the internet watch everything I do because they know I'm one of the best content creators out there creating legitimate fucking journalism, and they steal it and they pawn it off as their own. And then I have to deal with people, Carlin, why are you claiming someone stole your work? Why do you care? Etc., etc. I care because the only way that I can do this sustainably is to make original content. So, if you guys would like to support my content and my work to make sure that I can keep doing this sustainably, every single time that conservative jackasses steal my work and pawn it off as their own so they can make money off of my back without even crediting me, please make sure you're subscribed as a paying member on my Substack. I would really appreciate it. It is $5 a month, $50 a year to sign up as a paying member on my Substack. The paying supporters of my work support the work I'm doing. They're the ones that allow me to do all this stuff. And I probably wouldn't be so uppity about people stealing my work if they weren't making money off it because people think it's theirs and it's coming from them, but it's really coming off of my fucking back. I found this presentation at 2 a.m. in the morning when I was staying up working to write an article to expose the Michigan Department of Education. Odin's man took my work, stole it, pawned it off as his own, did nothing, and he's doing it to make money. So if you want to stick it to him, please make sure you subscribe as a paying member on my Substack. I would really appreciate it because the reality is if I don't bring in a certain amount of paying supporters who value the work I'm doing that other conservative influencers are out there stealing every single day, I can't do this. And if I stop doing this, then your conservative influencers are going to have no other content to steal. They're actually going to have to go out and do their own work. And God knows they're not going to do that because they're lazy. Because that's why they're stealing other people's work in the first place and not even bothering to credit them because they're lazy. So if people don't support the work I'm doing, then you're going to end up with them. And that's just going to be the way it goes. So guys, please make sure you sign up as a paying supporter on my Substack if you have not already. I really do appreciate it.
You will find, this is the ironic part, and I shouldn't even tell you, but I'm going to. If you do that, total acceptance of having a hard day, and you allow yourself to have a hard day, the hard day will move through a little bit quicker. Okay, so you will be out of it a little bit quicker than if you stay in it, resisting it and hating it. That's my experience anyway. Give it a try and then email me. Tell me how it works. Anybody else want to say what you do on a hard day?
Well, does anybody have anything to say about that? I think for me, hard days are just whenever I'm having a hard day, I put on a lot of eye makeup and I wear my finest clothing and I go out into the world and I wait for the good vibes to come to me. Because, on the hard days, it's really hard to generate good vibes by myself. So I just wait for them to come to me.
That's great. Yeah. You don't like stay in your house hating it and you don't try to deny that it's happening or, yeah.
I'll definitely agree with that. I mean, I think that on my hard days, I pretty much...
Oh, DeSantis, hang on. Breaking news. Radical Moderate is saying Twitter is reporting that DeSantis is announcing his run for president. Is that true? Has anyone else seen that? Did DeSantis officially announce? That's kind of a big deal. We can interrupt the presentation for that. DeSantis. Let's see. I don't see DeSantis announcing. Yeah, I don't see him announcing anywhere. I'm not saying he's not. I just don't see it yet, Radical Moderate. If you have a link, that would be great.
I wish I could go out on my hard days, but honestly, I'm kind of a stick in the mud on my hard days.
Which is okay too.
Yeah. So what I do is, it's kind of interesting. I kind of go in stages depending on how hard of a day it is, I'll kind of just sit in my house and I'll find some series on Netflix, and I better watch that whole series because that's the only thing I'm going to be doing that day. Unless I kind of get into a little bit of a better mood, or even if I get into a little bit worse of a mood, I've got one friend that I just text them and they'll Skype me in a minute.
Holy shit. Okay, I lied. This is not the last thing I'm going to say about Odin's man. Do you know what he said? Do you know how I said at the beginning of this stream? Odin's men. Do you know how I said at the beginning of this stream that this was from the Obama era? Look at what this jackass tweeted. Do you know how I introed this stream saying it was in the Obama era? This jackass, who is claiming he didn't steal my work, quite literally tweeted, "He's been doing it since the Obama era." You're not stealing my shit, bro? You're not stealing my shit? Really? You're not stealing my shit? All right. All right. Sure. You were just magically sent this link today that's been on the internet for 6 fucking years that no one else found until I found it at 2 a.m. the other day when I was doing actual research and actual journalism, and you just happen to be parroting exactly the same things that I'm saying on this stream right now. You happen to be stealing words out of my mouth, you fucking lying thief. We see you. We know what's going on. You are not smarter than me. You are not going to gaslight me into believing that you aren't watching me right now, because of course you're watching me right now, because you are completely lazy and incapable of creating your own content. You have to steal other people's work. This is why conservatives lose. That's exactly right. This is why no one wants to help you and no one wants to support you, because you don't appreciate the work that goes into this. You don't appreciate the hours that I spend every single week researching this. You just steal something, call it your own, call it a day because you want to make money. This is why conservatives lose, and this is why you have no one supporting you. Yeah, he probably does have a clip channel. How much you want to bet he is going to make all of these on his channel? It's cool. I can make clips too, Odin's men. I can make them too. Let me just take a look real quick. You just happened to literally parrot my words from my stream in your tweets on a video that has been buried on the internet for 6 years, that you just happened to be sent during my stream. You are a lying, lazy thief. He's got that clip. What else does he have? It's oh, here it is. It's fun when libertarians attack you for even commenting on the LGBTQ. Oh, yeah. Okay, so he's complaining about people getting blocked in my chat. Do you remember earlier when I told people don't comment on LGBTQ stuff in my chat? He is literally complaining about people being blocked in my chat and fucking subtweeting it. Yeah, of course you're watching right now, Odin's men. Of course you're watching. There he is again. There he is again. Wow. Oh, look at this. Oh, he's tagging gender spectrum. Oh, he's tagging gender spectrum. Huh. It's funny. How did Odin's men, how did you find gender spectrum? How did you find it? Did you find it from my journalism on gender spectrum? Is that how you found it? On my journalism about gender spectrum? Oh, and just happened to say, just happened to be tagging it. You are such an asshole, dude. Go fuck yourself. All right. I'm sorry, I have feelings about people stealing my work, particularly when do you guys understand? I stay up most nights until 2, 3, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning doing this research so that I can make sure I'm giving you guys the most unique content on the internet. Do you guys understand how many hours a week I put into this? How much stuff that I don't get to do because I'm always doing this? It is insulting. It is insulting and it is egregious and it happens all the time. And then if I talk about it, conservatives are like, why are you worried about it? Why do you care? Why are you infighting? Why are you creating drama? Well, you're really the problem, Carlin. It's not the people who are stealing my work and pawning it off as their own that are the problem. It's me that's the problem for calling out that they're stealing my work and pawning it off as their own. That's the real problem. You know, these people pretend to be good Christians. I promise we're going to go back to the presentation in a second. These people pretend to be good Christians. And then they ignore one of the basic commandments, which is thou shalt not steal, motherfuckers. Don't ever pretend to be a Christian if you're going to blatantly steal other people's shit. Don't ever make claims about libertarians when you're ignoring the basic tenets in the non-aggression principle, which is don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. You are a lazy piece of shit, Odin's men. You are a lazy piece of shit. Incapable of doing your own work, which is why you're stealing mine. All right. Let's get back to it, guys. We have about 10 more minutes. We have to stream 10 more minutes of this presentation so Odin's men can steal it and tweet it using my words.
And whether I sit there crying at a screen, wondering why is the world against me, or whether I'm sitting there and I'm just listening to them tell me about the ice cream they're eating, it just helps me be better because it's a little bit of interaction, but I can always stop at any time and it can be whatever I want it to be just because of the kind of friend that they are. So
yeah, that's great.
We do have another question. This one's from Tessa.
I'm listening.
And it says, I love you all so much, ! Jeffrey and everyone, where do you go online to find other inspiring and positive support?
Hang on. Shayna says, I mean, it's not that hard to cite who and where you got your stuff from. Give proper credit and help people, and more people will help you. Yes, Odin's men. It's not that hard to say. I was watching Dr. Carlin B stream this, and it's pretty fucked up. It's not that hard to say that, bro. It's not that hard to say it.
And what people do you follow on Tumblr, Vine, Twitter, etc.? Thank you so much. XOXOXOXOXO.
Oh, that's great. I actually have become, sorry, I keep hitting my microphone. I don't know if it's making noise. I'll stay very still. I actually have fallen deeply in love with Thomas Sanders right now and love everything that Thomas is doing. I was at do you mind if I freshen my gloss for our last 10 minutes?
Oh my God.
Was at what's called the Shorty Awards in New York City, which is like the social media Oscars, you know? And it was the first time I met Thomas, and Thomas is just a wonderful, beautiful person in person. And everything that he puts out is so kind, and I love his vines. And so look up Thomas. Also for like feeling good, I do like Tyler Oakley. And some of the other, Hannah Hart and some of the other YouTubers who really just, you can tell, are deep down have these hearts of gold and want to share that with people. Yeah. I don't know. Anybody else? Who do you go to for positiveness?
I'm sorry, I have to say this because this person is amazing. There's this one YouTuber that I found on the internet. One random spring break sitting there, and her username is I Superwoman I. Her name's Lily Singh. She is this amazing person who I've never seen like a video that was about anything negative once ever. And they make little skits or they make little like just rants that are funny. They're always funny and they're always uplifting. And sometimes they're just, I've seen a video or two where they were just talking about, you know what, just love yourself and just be you, because that's what it is. And she has this tag that she signs out with every time. It's like One Love Superwoman, and she went on this world tour about Unicorn Island, and she talks about how it's this place she goes to when she's her happiest. It's what it is for her whenever she's just positive, and just she herself is a very positive and very inviting, very loving person. And then whenever she puts stuff out on the internet, it's just like you, Jeffrey, it just makes you kind of have a little smile on your face, and it just kind of reminds you, you know what, it's totally amazing. And I love her so much because as far as I know, she's only an ally of the community, and I've never met an ally that is so amazing to just listen to, because they just accept everyone and everything that happens, and it's such a positive environment. I love them so much. And yeah, I just had to talk about them because
Lily Singh.
Lily Singh is amazing.
Google that.
You should. Anybody else have something they want to talk about from the internet?
Well, I'm wondering, Maya, do you have like a wrap up? Do you want to do another question? Do you want to try to get one in?
Is there another question?
Was there? Maybe we got to them all.
I feel like they're thank you notes. Oh, that's a
sweet.
They are thank you notes. We can read them out loud if we want to.
Yeah, let's read them.
Okay. So there's one from Kim that says, "Thank you. I feel like what you said earlier is spot on. Transition. This is for the whole world, not just for my child. Acceptance, love, and understanding, not a preconceived notion of what you think my child should be."
Yeah, I agree.
I'll read this one since this is my twin, actually. So, hi, Kyla.
Like your twin in real life?
Yes.
Yeah, that's,
oh my gosh.
the question from earlier was from Maya's twin.
Yeah.
Hi,
Kyla's in Germany right now. So it's like 1 a.m. right there for them. But
right, party.
Kyla says, "Thank you for all your responses. I asked because I've been having a lot of hard days recently, but you're right. There's no way to escape them. You just gotta let them out. I'll keep you updated, Jeffrey." And then smiley face with a little nose.
Dankeschön.
And I think with that, we'll be like wrapping up. So I have like this little spiel that I've written up, and so but I'm probably just not gonna ad lib it. But basically, thank you all so much for everybody who was able to make it, who was able to come in and like watch us all have this conversation. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. I really appreciate, we all really appreciate you being able to come here and share your voice and share your wisdom and things like that.
You're welcome.
And and I guess I'll open it up to the youth council members and then Jeffrey for any final words you all may have for the end of this broadcast. But if anybody has like,
we've got
anything
Odin's
like
men people coming in here now.
I feel like we should leave Jeffrey for the last because their words.
Better be good.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No pressure.
I just wanted to thank you, Jeffrey, for being so patient with us and answering all of our questions and opening up about your secrets. But I also wanted to give a shout out to Violet, who was supposed to be in the panel today, couldn't make it because they had technical difficulties. So we remember you, and you're in our chat box. So.
All right. And I just have a couple of words, Jeffrey. I wanted to say just thank you so much for existing, because it's people like you.
That was easy.
It's people like you who went out and they decided they wanted to be positive and amazing role models in the community that allow younger people like me to be who we are with more confidence. I think it's things like this where we talk about acceptance and self-love and expressing ourselves that really make an impact in what I feel like can be kind of darker times, but at the same.
I have something to say about what this kid is saying right now. I have nothing. I'm not talking about Odin's men this time. I actually have something to say about this. These kids, and they are kids, they're children, they do not have the logic, reason, function of their brain. They are gravitating to people like Jeffrey Marsh because they are getting from Jeffrey Marsh something that they are not getting from other people in their lives. There's no conservative or right-wing version of Jeffrey Marsh that is telling young and confused kids it's okay to be exactly who you are. That doesn't exist. And it will never exist. And I'm sorry, guys. I know some of you don't want to hear this, but there are young gay kids and there are young trans kids. And I know some people don't agree with that, but I think there are. And even if there aren't, there are still kids that are going through puberty and they feel weird and maybe they want to dress in weird clothes and maybe they want to dye their hair and maybe they want to experiment and maybe they want to be creative because that's what you do when you're a kid. And there is no one that is a more conservative or even quite frankly moderate person that is speaking to these kids that's telling them it's okay to be exactly who you are. It's okay to experiment. It's okay to be creative. It's okay to try different hair colors, try different clothes. I don't think there's anything wrong with men wearing a skirt or a kilt just to experiment or be silly or to be kids. Maybe they're playing dress up. Maybe they're doing a show. Maybe they're doing a performance. Maybe they're doing theater. Maybe they're just being creative. Maybe they're just having fun. Who knows? But there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone goes through phases like that. Creativity is part of the human experience. And there is no one from the conservative right that is telling these kids it is okay to be who you are. And that is why they are gravitating to people like Jeffrey Marsh. Because for all the bullshit and all of the awkward flirting and the love bombing that Jeffrey Marsh did to this kid during this presentation, Jeffrey Marsh did say things that are kind of like universal self-help things. Love yourself. Dress how you want. Do things you love. Listen to people who make you happy. You're okay the way you are. You're perfect the way you are. You're beautiful the way you are. Those are all actually messages that, I mean, all of us need to hear, but I think especially kids when they're going through an awkward time in their lives, they especially need to hear stuff like that. Do you know what they're getting on the conservative right? Do you know what they're getting? They're getting gay bashing. They're getting, "You're a degenerate. How dare you?" They're getting they're getting a moral outrage. They're getting told not to even consider these ideas. They're getting told that the books they want to read are being banned. That's what they're getting from the conservative right now. Do you have any question about why they're gravitating to someone like Jeffrey Marsh, who is telling them you are perfect just the way you are and you deserve to be happy and you deserve to be loved and it's okay to be creative and it's okay to experiment and it's okay to try on different clothes and try on different personalities and you're perfect just the way you are and your life is going to be an evolution and you're going to change and it's important to love yourself. Those are important messages that these kids need to hear that they're not getting from people in the conservative right, and they are being pushed right into the groomer's arms. That's why these kids like him so much. That's why. That's why they're enamored of his content, because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel normal. It makes them feel like they have someone that understands them. And it doesn't matter if he's going to come in and take advantage of it later because they don't know that. They're kids. If you don't want to provide alternatives to this that reinforce positive self-esteem, positive self-image, helps the kids see that creativity is okay, creativity is part of the human experience, that tells them, dye your hair blue, dye your hair purple, dye your hair green, wear the funky clothes, wear the crazy clothes, go to Hot Topic, go to town, like whatever. I mean, whatever today's version of Hot Topic is. When I was young, it was Hot Topic. I don't know. But if you're not going to provide an alternative, don't be surprised when they get taken in by someone like Jeffrey Marsh, because where else do you want them to go? Brian, thank you for the super chat and thank you for the tweets, Brian. I did see them. For someone that dislikes LGBT, Odin clips a lot of gays against groomers from TikTok. I'm sure he does. I'm sure Odin's man is stealing content from everywhere. And people will still support him. And there were people saying to me on Twitter, what did I say? Carlin, isn't it the message that's important? Why are you infighting, Carlin? Isn't it the message that's important? Yeah, okay.
Same time, it's just amazing to me that you can be so positive in a world that still kind of sucks. But and I mean, I don't know, I'm a little pessimistic, but I live in Texas, so it's different. But again, I wanted to thank you, and I wanted to thank anybody else out there who's courageous enough to just be themselves, because it can be so hard to be who you are. And anytime you express anything, and you do it wholeheartedly and you do it as you, I think it just shows a tremendous amount of kindness and caringness for yourself. And I think it just shows that you can tell the world that this is who I am, and they have to deal with
it. Yes, they do.
And one little last thing, all I have to say is ditto, ditto, ditto to everybody else who came before me. And just little short, thank you so much for bringing it. The world always needs more love, and you're a great supplier, I guess. But thank you. That is all I can really say. But yeah.
Well, you're so welcome. I have something to say. I spoke briefly about it before, but I don't think people really understand what kind of a two-way street it is. Everyone always thanks me, thank you for your messages, and you help me. I get messages still all the time from people saying, I was feeling suicidal. I've decided to stick around because of the work you do. You inspire me to be myself. Thank you so much. But I don't think people really get it or understand how much you all inspire me. Someone was asking me in a podcast, who's your hero, right? Or your heroine, or who's your inspiration? And I said, oh, easy, definitely the people I interact with online. As Matthew was saying, it's anybody who's willing to give it a shot to be themselves, to show that bravery. It's very touching to me. So, Maya, you inspire me. Matthew, you inspire me. Matt, Oslik, you inspire me too. And even Violet, whose computer wouldn't cooperate, inspires me, and everybody who's watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh my God!
And I think with that, really great note, we will end this really awesome, lovely conversation. I don't know how we end this. I think, do we just leave the chat, or not the chat?
I think we say goodbye.
I believe then we're gonna go off air.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we'll say till next time.
Yes.
Let's do it again.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for everybody.
All right. Well, I guess that is the end of the presentation for today. So Odin's men will have to go somewhere else if they want to steal content. Cooley says that someone on Twitter is saying I'm a child rape apologist and pedo defender on one of Odin's men's posts. Yeah, they do that when they want to smear me for calling them out on being blatant assholes. And no, I'm not a child rape apologist or a pedo defender. But this is what conservatives do when they want to smear me, which they've been doing for 2 years. This is why I have no patience left for the conservative right, and they can go fuck themselves. And I will enjoy. Oh, it's in someone's Substack. What's Substack? Oh, that's nice. That's nice of them. See, it's kind of like conservatives don't actually want to win, because they quite literally spend all day stealing from people who are actually doing work and then smearing the people that they're stealing from in order to discredit the people doing the real work, because they can't stand the fact that they got called out for stealing the work, Odin's men. Oh, yeah, the Twitter horde found them. Of course they did. Of course they did. Because again, these people are just obsessed with me and they have nothing else in their sad, 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 pathetic lives. But guys, if you want to support real work and real journalism, the way you can do that is by making sure you are subscribed to my Substack. It is Carlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. I just did the wrong thing with the URL here. Let me put that in there. Substack is my main content hub. It is the place where I post all of my content first. I also have a locals community. If you want to join me in locals, kb.locals.com. If you want to join my Patreon and get all sorts of different perks at different levels, it is patreon.com/unwoke. You can find all of the information in the description below. But the place that I am really trying to drive support to right now is on my Substack. I am trying to hit 75 new paying Substack supporters this month, and I'm about 30% of the way there. So we're making good progress. We're on track to get to the number. But guys, I would like to get a little bit ahead if I'm honest about it. We blew February out of the water. We hit February's goal like a week early. And then when we hit a goal early, we can start on next month's goal, which is really good. I actually got 10 extra subscriptions in February than what I was targeting. So I'm really happy about that. But we do have another goal because I need to be able to fund the work I'm doing. And the way I fund the work I'm doing is through you. The presentation that we watched today, I found at 2 a.m. Odin's Men did not find it. No one else on the internet found it. I found it at 2 a.m. while I was researching for this article. This is the third article in my series exposing the Michigan Department of Education. It is called Michigan Trains Teachers to Help Elementary School Students Come Out to Parents. This is real. And how I found the presentation is I found this form from Gender Spectrum that is being used in schools across Michigan to create a gender plan for your elementary schoolers for when they want to come out to you. And from there, I found the Gender Spectrum YouTube page. And from there, I found that presentation with Jeffrey Marsh that conservatives are now pretending they found, even though it's been on the internet for 6 years and they haven't done shit about it yet, up until the moment when I was streaming it. And then they all just found it purely by accident. I'm sure they just tripped and found the same buried presentation that I stumbled across at 2 a.m. while I was doing real journalism. But that's how I found it, guys. I spend my days doing work for you to expose what the woke left is doing. I do want to hit 75 new supporters on my Substack this month. If I don't hit that, I'm going to be putting up a paywall. And I do provide a lot of perks for my supporters, to include 2 private unrecorded Zoom calls with me every single week. We will talk about whatever subject you want to talk about. I will answer whatever questions you want me to answer. We do them on Mondays at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays rather at noon. We also do movie night every single week. It's looking like we're going to watch Far and Away for movie night on Sunday. When you become a supporter on my Substack, you're going to get access to my supporter Discord, where we do a new movie night every single Sunday at 8 p.m. We do trivia. We talk about the movie. It's really fun. We're doing Irish movies for the month of March, which is going to be really great. And also, we have a Bitchcraft coming up tomorrow at 3 p.m. If you are a supporter on my locals, my Substack, or my Patreon, you're going to be able to get the link to Bitchcraft. If you are on my Substack, the link for Bitchcraft is actually going to be in this article. Let me show you. This is in last week's newsletter. And what happens is when you're a supporter on my Substack, you scroll down to the bottom of the weekly newsletter, you get your list of supporter perks. Your link to Bitchcraft is going to be in last week's newsletter under the supporter perks. And that's going to be for tomorrow at 3 p.m. We are doing Bitchcraft, which is basically an open Zoom where we bitch and we craft, and all crafts are welcome. And then we do Socialism Saturday after that. Socialism Saturday is where we watch Real Socialism on the channel. That'll be tomorrow at 6 p.m. I don't know what we're watching yet because I haven't found it. I have to go research now and find a really good socialist presentation for us to watch tomorrow so that Odin's Men can watch the same presentation we're watching so that they can steal it and put clips on the internet before we're even done the stream. Fun times. Fun times. But again, guys, my work is supported by you. Please support it if you financially can. And if you can't financially support me, then make sure you're sharing the content that I'm doing and make sure you're not yelling at me when I call out conservative grifters for stealing my shit because they have no integrity and no values, no principles, don't really believe in anything. They only believe in making money and swindling it right out of you. All right, guys, that's all I have. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. We'll see you next time.